Another variety of what you can do with the looped yarn is, instead of making an entire project with just the looped yarn, you can combine a regular yarn project with the looped yarn. So the looped yarn can be just used for a little square or portion of the design element. So, for example, say I want to start an extra design right there. So instead of making the loop out of this strand, I'm going to take this strand instead. I'll pull it through, and then with the next one, I just need to make sure I'm going to bring this yarn over, so I'm carrying it over so it's not left over here. So I'm going to carry it over, and then I'm grabbing my gray yarn again, and I'm using the space in the looped yarn. I'm going to pull that through, and then again I want to make sure that I'm carrying the green over, so I'm going to carry it over. Then I'm going to use the loop of the looped yarn and pull that through. Carry over with the green, and then I'm going to use the looped yarn, pull that through. I'll just do it a few more times. So I'm carrying the green over, the regular yarn over, using the looped yarn, pull that through. I think that's good enough for the example. So I'm going to knit here, and then I'll knit back, and then we'll start recording again when I'm there. Alright, so this is the back side, and I had knitted this way, and now I'm knitting back. And it's extra bumpy because I'm using the braided yarn, so it's a lot thicker than that. So normally it wouldn't be standing out quite that much. So I'm knitting, so I'm finishing the regular. Now I'm getting into my fancy loop yarn square. So I want to purl these just so that I can have a nice appearance over here. So I'm going to start purling. So I'll bring my yarn forward. I'm going to carry it over, and then this same loop yarn that had been coming that way, well, now I'm going to make it go that way. So I'm going to do a purl stitch there. I'm only bringing forward that. You see that the green was trapped, but it didn't come through. So now the next stitch, and make sure that this is carrying over, right? So I'm going to put it over, and then I'm going to use a loop yarn for my purl stitch. And I'm going to carry the green over, and I'm going to use the loop yarn to make my purl stitch. Over and purl stitch. Carry the green over, and then purl stitch. And then, since my green is right where it's supposed to be, because I have been carrying it over all the time, I'll carry it over like always, and I'm just going to keep, well, in this case I want that side to be knit, so I'm going to put it on the knit side and keep knitting. Alright, so I've done a couple rows, and you can see how it's making a nice clear pattern. We have this square in the middle of the green, and it's pushing it down just because this yarn is significantly thicker than this yarn, but if it were all the same width, then it would be just a nice little box among the green. So that's one idea. And then in this kind of scenario, the loop yarn would only be as long as the little item that it would make. So if this were only going to go a couple more rows, if the loop yarn were only going to go a couple more rows, then this yarn might only be, you know, a few yards long, and or even a few feet long for that matter, not very long. So just a little tiny ball that people could add into their yarn projects. And then of course it could be really cute things. So it could be a little flower or a little heart, something like that. Just an extra little embellishment that doesn't take a whole lot of work for the knitter to add into their otherwise plain piece. So that's one thing. And then while the camera is rolling, I will show my other idea. So this is that loop yarn, or yarn bands, I'm sorry. These are the yarn bands that we showed in the other videos. And they're the ones that look like this to begin with. And all I did was I created, again, a square knot just by going like this. It's a little bit tougher because of the glue. So basically, here, just like that. So what you do is, as you knit along, and you can throw different colors in wherever you want to with the yarn bands. So if I wanted a pink right there, or let's start with the white since I put it on first. So what I would do is I'd put the white on just like I just did with that square knot, and then I would slide it down to where it meets the working yarn, and now I just use that as my loop. And then say, at this point I could either choose to, sticky yarn, I could either choose to put my pink on the next loop if I wanted to, or I could choose, you know, let's say I want some more green first. So I'm going to do a couple of green, and then let's say I want to put my pink right there, so I'm just going to slide it down, use that as my loop, and pull it up, etc. Alright, so those are my two extra ideas. Thank you for watching.